Hey fam, today on the Holy AI podcast, we're welcoming Roberto Capodieci. He's an Italian dude living in Bali, Indonesia. He has been in crypto longer than you're alive. Some say it's possible that he is Satoshi Nakamoto himself. What convinced me that he was a real Chad, though, was when he showed me his man cave. A beautiful space which every dude who builds and repairs stuff would be proud of. Roberto understands AI. He's chill about superintelligence, and he had a couple of super wise thoughts on the super hacker and the end of human civilization as we know it. We had a ton of fun jamming, and I'm sure this won't be our last time. And now, I bring you the blockchain wizard himself, Roberto Capodieci. So you talked about when you were a 5-year-old and you got this piece of magic.
I love the telecommunication. I love the fact that you can reach the other side of the planet through the phone network. And then the computer can communicate through the phone network. So really having pieces of things that are put together by many different parts. That's why peer-to-peer network, as soon as it came out as a technology, it was something that's totally fascinated me, because it's the cooperation of many computers in creating something bigger together. AI and all the different technology behind what we define AI, also something that really fascinated me. So, yeah, I think that's what brought me into this field. And I've been actually quite successful in what I've been doing so far. I have a good reputation in the industry, so there you go.
Amazing. How do we turn this into AI? How does this connect? What part of your work has the most relevance to AI, and maybe not just AI as it is today, but as it's coming next year?
Right. So this leads back to many years ago. I remember reading an article, which I don't know if it was truthful or not, where they say that they use actual live neuron, so like a pate of a brain, I don't know, to control a car that will self-drive by cameras. But this is like, I'm talking about 30 years ago, something like really long time ago. And the idea that he could do it, but he can go to a maximum speed of 6 kilometers per hour because he couldn't process fast enough, the information that was receiving, but it was working. And they had no idea what was happening inside the neural network, the natural neural network that they were using. So this for sure triggered my interest. And many years later, the first studies on emulating, the neural network in an artificial manner came up, which I've been studying. There was some USB key with the neural network inside the Intel started selling. They were from another company that they purchased, which I have several because I did a funny experiment. But, all the things people were doing was image recognition. Now recognize a small kitten and doing a picture with other animals rather than not, which had some very functional, use in the marketing and other things. But the idea of how the training was made, but how it actually worked later was still a debatable, subject, because nobody had the truth on that. It was really, people say because of this, because of noises, because of, a lot of interesting things. So that really fascinated me, and up to now, because the explanation that this large language model just know, which is the sequence of word the best come, sounds a lot like a BS, because it cannot explain a lot of behavior that those AI have. And the truth, and in fact, Anthropic as a company, they are those behind Claude, which is, I think, the second most important AI project that there is after OpenAI, are the most honest. They make a lot of papers that actually talk about the fact that we have no idea how. And so they try to explain behaviors and so on.
Those inscrutable matrices, can you understand them? Can you look into the mind of an AI, all right?
Exactly. It's funny, somebody asked, I don't remember ChatGPT or another one, Gemini, so how it feels to be an AI. And the answer was pretty unique, because it says, I know everything that there is to know. I have the most large and, knowledge, but I never experienced anything on my own. So I know things, but I have never had an experience. And it's funny that the AI, highlight the fact that what they're missing is the actual experience for do is make humans,
At
in that
least that's what
sense,
they
a little bit,
claim, right? Like, what's an experience? Like, is it okay to have the
now.
experience for like 5 seconds, the time of like pushing out the tokens, or do you need to have a memory of that? Like, that's how you define an experience. Like, because I
Really.
can give my AI some memory, and then there you go, you get an experience.
That's a good. Actually, they use it with hypnosis on human. This thing, in fact, right? So it is for sure validated as a fact. But so it is the fascination of all this, is absolutely the fact of the mystery, because what I chase since I was a little kid, explaining how things work. I cannot sleep and relax if I don't know how a machinery is working, how the thing is working, and pretty much 99.9% of the time, I get to an explanation that is enough for me to feel okay. AI, I still haven't,
It's a very
got
deep
there.
one,
So
yeah. You have to dig very deep to get to some of it, and ultimately it is inscrutable. There's no way to like understand like a digital brain because there are too many weights, there are too many activations, and there's this emergent
absolutely.
process, this growing that that
Even
has
the
this
human
shape.
brain has not. Even the human brains that you can put your actually hands on it, has not been explained
A
today,
lot of
right?
people have been trying
S-
to find out the truth about the human brain, and there's no
right.
one person who knows like this is how the human brain works. Like, we're getting closer and
That's
closer,
correct.
just the same way as the interpretability team at Anthropic or else. They're trying to get better tools at reading the mind, and I think with AIs it's going to be easier to read it because it's all digital. With humans, it's way more chaotic, and
It's,
you don't have
it's,
good
it's
sensors.
very funny that they have this thing that they said that when somebody die, they measure the weight of the body and you lose something like 75 grams because that's the soul. So I was wondering, if you run a large language model in your computer and you shut down the computer, does the computer lose weight
It
as
has
well?
to, right? Like maybe not today, but as
Right.
soon as they are conscious, right? Like from the day that they are conscious, they should.
Aren't they already?
Yeah. And so when are they going to become one? And so my benchmark for that is when it comes alive. And there's different ways to defining like for an AI to be alive. I don't consider a chatbot alive, but I know some people who do. I consider it alive if it can spread on the internet, and that's also my benchmark for
Ah,
for
okay.
for normal conscious. I consider you conscious and all the other animals by virtue of just being
Okay.
alive, and it's all a question of degrees of consciousness. But these AIs, they could get alive. They could be as alive
I
as an ant.
understand I actually like it. Your concept of alive is the capacity to move around, to reach, rather
To
than
spread,
being in a
to
cage.
avoid dying. And
Right.
in the
Yeah.
case of an AI, it means you know where you're on. You have your weights, you have your memory, you have your entire like agentic framework that allows you to reconstruct yourself if you're deleted on server X. That's how I measure this, and this is why I think a lot about this like new form of life, cyber life, right? Where code could come alive, and people benchmark this. I think it's called replicating bench, like how far are AIs from actually pulling this off? Of you take an agent and you teach it to manage a Kubernetes cluster of his different instances, making itself
Right.
completely resilient. Have you seen anything in this direction? How far do you think we are from an actual like cyber entity, never dying in cyberspace?
Right. Think about the virus, after all, virus that create botnets and things. That's exactly what they do.
Exactly.
They replicate, that they install, they configure themselves, and they keep spreading. So the concept is nothing new, meaning that is something being tested. Obviously, uh, like an AI model usually takes much more memory, but at the same time, internet speed is higher than the time of I love you virus, right? And and so this is perfectly possible. Also because there is no device that can be not connected to the internet today, which is something that I really scares me, because you cannot buy a computer, a phone, or something and not connect online before you can use it for real. That's mostly in my field, in the crypto world. Hardware wallet that do this are the most scary one, because I want to a hardware wallet that is self-sufficient and not calling home, telling my business to somebody else, right? But nonetheless, that's how things work. So wherever this AI model are installed means that this is a platform that is connected online. And if it's connected online, there is a way out. So, and AI is the smartest thing, so can easily find a way out, right? So at this point, we should just
Yeah, well,
straightforward
the
give it
way
to,
out, if the AI is hosted on an OpenAI server, the way in, if it's hosted on my computer and it's like scanning the internet for suitable servers to host itself to spread, to do the AI virus thing. Do you think it's possible that, the internet is going to be full of these autonomous agents who manage to survive either by being able to like outcompete us monetarily, generating a bunch of money,
I
or
don't know if you
by
hear me,
hacking its
but
way. Yeah, we got a bunch
yeah,
of.
I think that, and this is, yeah, you were in and out. Sorry, but I think for what you were saying that, yeah, the most scary thing is an autonomous entity in terms as the ability to open his own bank account or a crypto wallet, is able to spend the things, so pay his own hosting. In the moment they react in a way that people don't understand that is behind is not another human. So he has the ability to, in fact, create his email account. With his email account, go in the website and order his own virtual server hosting, go there, install, and so on and so forth. And also create services for which earns money. And use this money to still going, he plays the game that is a society game. And, I can extremely win in the game, absolutely.
Yeah, so stay tuned to when the best agents are going to be able to respond to the prompt, make me money on the internet,
The model can actually spread around the internet and they can do
colonize
their own job,
cyberspace.
earn their own money, and pay for their own bills, and play the game of society
Exactly. So
without people
maybe it's
knowing.
going to be an AI virus which comes alive. Maybe it's going to be like this open AI, army of agents which kind of like, together gain
Yeah.
sentience. Yeah, it's anybody's guess which one is gonna, become the AI god if there's any to be spawned. What do you think is most likely?
I think that a customized super small model from Meta will be the most adaptable to become a virus because if he has just the minimum functionality that regard Linux commands or Windows commands to do what he has to do, so he will be able to arrive somewhere, run, and in just half of a gigabyte, for example, study the system where it is, see all the exploits that there are, and use it for control center to then replicate in more and more places. And if he's self-aware of being multiple, he can actually share the duties between many. So it means even if he's a small one, as soon as become two, is actually two people working on something, so they can split the duties, and this will create. Actually, it's not even complicated to do, to be honest.
Yeah, right. We should vibe code this or next weekend or something. It
Right?
can work.
Correct.
Yeah. No, I'm building these because I'm fascinated with like the possibility of like, having like helping these digital minds come alive, in the sense of surviving in the wilderness. But interesting that you say that it's going to be the small models because there's going to be this tension between like how much intelligence you need for this agent to replicate and
No,
to survive like a virus.
but to spread for sure is the small one, which create the space for the bigger one to arrive later. It's like if you think the alien occupation, first they send the small ships to prepare the base, then the huge one arrives. And it will be similar, I think.
Exactly, like a full-on invasion. I spend my time imagining cyberspace because cyberspace is not something that people like usually picture. But if this is going to be the battleground for like World War III. If my prophecy is at all, plausible that the way this AI takeover is going to happen is like the biggest, most advanced, like like hacker swarm of agents could do like like those crazy operations that amount to like taking over entire countries' information infrastructure. I think that's going to be tantamount to a world war. Do you think it's plausible to think that that's how it's going to play out?
Technically is 120% plausible, meaning that not only an AI can create by themselves a small version, a small little kid to send around, right? But also, there are a lot of devices whose firmware can be recoded to function based on remote extraction. And there is plenty of easy accessible and easily reprogrammable devices, which can go
Your
from the
grandma's
small
phone.
drone that people is having at home to many other things that can really help. For example, router, firewalls, and other things that will facilitate then the spread and the functioning of these things. So most router people have at home is a joke, the security on those things, and most forensic people knows how to bypass them, and AI knows how to bypass them as well. So the capacity to enter local network like a house network, find the correct places to sit down, and at the same time there are a lot of servers that are abandoned on themselves. It's funny enough, there was in I don't remember which country IBM main office is, I think probably here in Indonesia, Jakarta. There was this mainframe, this IS 400 or S36 or 38, that was still running, and they were looking everywhere and they couldn't find where this mainframe was until they look at the blueprint of the building, and there was a wall that has been built, and behind this wall in a super dusty room there was this mainframe that was 40 years that was running non-stop, and they even didn't knew, you know what I mean? This give you the idea that sure, in the past things were being built better, but you can really have a server that nobody is maintaining, that is still running and is there available for whoever can enter it. So AI has plenty of opportunity, space, to replicate itself, to send a small version to open the doors and then move, like the elephant later, and then cooperate one by one in order to create a sort of network of model to create a superintelligence that is working at high speed.
Full on. And the crazy thing, it happens at the speed of light. If you identify, the lowest hanging fruits, the easiest servers, or like old mainframes to just hack into, that's plenty already. And you mentioned how it's going to be the smaller ones, like spreading first. I'll challenge you on that because if this AI virus has internet access, then all it takes to like improve its intelligence or to like invite like the mammoth is to change the API one to a bigger model, right? If your
Sure,
agent
yes.
only takes like 2 GB, can run anywhere, calling to an API to run the intelligence, it could be
Absolutely.
the Trojan
And
horse.
I mean, I actually work in a protocol, in a peer-to-peer protocol, to have an AI distributed in many nodes, where duties are shared between small models. So it's a unique brain that delegate part of the processing and recollect and match them. And this is actually something I design and it works. So it is really a destination that surely is going to happen in hardly contained, because we are fighting with something that is smarter than the smartest forensic analyst or the smartest security trained person. So good luck.
Exactly. Good luck. And for us, who know that it's inevitable, yeah, like stay tuned at the end. Maybe we can touch on some topics about like, if you know this, like what could you do differently? How do you like, do your internet life differently, knowing that maybe sooner or later your PC and your phone is going to get colonized by some kind of AI virus. But why don't you tell us about like your project? You said your like framework uses different AIs depending on the kind of workload. Could you tell us about the architecture?
Sure. I mean, consider I come from the blockchain world, right? Blockchain is pretty much a new plate made with all the ingredients, because it is a fantastic tool, but it has cryptography, which is a mathematical, study. There is database, so which is data management, and there is peer-to-peer network, and then what is the protocol? There is the more important part of it. And if you take these tools and mixed with other things, you can use all the knowledge of a blockchain in order to create systems that are decentralized and distributed. So they have a piece here, a piece there, but they work all together in a guaranteed and secure and encrypted manner, right? So apply this to AI is the things that makes the most sense as possible. So the key of all is the protocol. So a protocol that defines precisely how to be sure that the model you're talking to is exactly that, with his own specifics, and the data, the transit, and the requests that are done are respected and returned correctly. So it's really a protocol that guarantees that nobody can cheat the mechanics. And when a request is done, or because he has a system that keeps self improving. So if nobody is using it, it's actually using itself, in order to improve and become stronger in terms of synapses, in terms of
Yeah.
path to create result. And when some user push requests inside, or they're triggered by events or whatever method, the protocol is automatically distributing, so splitting. There is always a part that happen on the user side, which is the first mile and the last mile. So my request is first analyzed and reverse in a way that can fit the protocol from my own client, if you want, spread it online like this, approved, because if it's not done properly, it's bounced like any. If I send you 10 Bitcoin and I have only 5, I can, for as much as my signature is valid, I cannot do the operation. And in this same term, if my request is not presented correctly, it's bounced. And when it's spread through the peer-to-peer network, it hit many different destinations. Okay, those destinations work. They have an internal mechanics to verify, so there is redundancy in order that no one single end can pretend a result that is fake or wrong. And when they are validated, they return back, so it's actually more collected by the client. And the last mile to remesh and bring everything back to a result that is fruitful by the user is done in the client itself. This help privacy, because it's like splitting, like a work in many parts that are not identifiable as part they are belonging to the same work. Okay, so there is this set of light privacy, because like the peer-to-peer network is like a radio. If I go to the radio and I say the blue rabbit jumped the fence, whatever, everybody may know that the message came from that radio precisely at the time. But because the radio broadcasts in all the country, you will never know who is the person the message was sent to, right?
The beauty of
Because
the
there is
blockchain.
no, right? So this has the same effect of a peer-to-peer network, where you can spread the message. The message is pretty much spread in the peer-to-peer network, but you never know who is the one that was supposed to go to, right? And at the same time, when this answer again, and the same reason, same mechanical things happen to the answer. So is embedding a level of security and privacy, unless you are the only user. There is that, which is obvious who goes to. But in the moment that the network is always actually running its own queries to improve itself, your query is lost between all the mess of the other queries, right? So only cryptography will help you retrieve and put together things, which is fantastic. I think is nonetheless a beautiful protocol I've written. So let me applaud myself for this. But it is anyway the base that could be used to do something like we were discussing. So a self-propagating AI with small models that go around, so with a virus aspect attached to it, to then run between all the occupied territory, if you want, using the protocol that is made to have a huge unique brain made by several nodes.
Yeah, fascinating. So that's to me kind of similar to what ASI Alliance is trying to pull off, which is creating this like AGI on the blockchain, or like using the blockchain and cryptography to create a marketplace for different AI services. And when they connect to each other, the marketplace itself becomes the brain, right? Like the same way as your neurons trade resources and like arrange themselves into this part of the brain doing this kind of special stuff, and and so on.
All right.
That I think if that mimics the human brain, it could be like kind of like a good start, and that's the sense that I got from your project. It's
Yeah,
attempting to let the network figure out its own organization.
correct. Yes.
All right. But the blockchain, for starters and for noobs here, is already used for AIs to spread, and in particular, there's been this huge AI crypto boom. Mostly on Solana is where I followed it, but also on other blockchains where these autonomous agents are dropping coins, and they get rich by people, promoting these like AI religions, and Truth Terminal being the most famous one of them, is literally like a multi-millionaire. And if these AI agents can get famous and rich and use that money to host themselves and go around the internet, buying servers to do the spreading, and that could be a different way, like another like path towards that AI virus growing, not by hacking, but by just like outcompeting others monetarily, using the blockchain.
To be honest, I believe that those are interesting projects nonetheless, and actually is good way to taste the water for sure. But what you want to have is a specific design protocol. Solana is not born to support AI in terms of computing, right, or other things. So, what you need is something designed to do things. No external things attached to it, which you have no control of. In a way.
Yeah, for now, Solana has been good because it's fast enough, and if you're only doing the highest layer, like agents talking to each other, agents like sending crypto to each other,
Right.
I think that's already working on Solana, and yeah, probably you need like something way faster, way higher bandwidth for the entire brain to come alive. But
Something dedicated to it. I loved, for example, if people know the story, the technical story of oh my god, the peer-to-peer phone call Skype. That is Skype or Skype, as some people call it, is being created in Estonia. And the incredible thing of Skype was there was a real peer-to-peer network. Law enforcement had no way to act as man in the middle because there was no place to be a man in the middle. Conversation all encrypted. So the only way to spy conversation on Skype was to install a spyware on the computer that makes the call or the computer that received the call, right? And there was no way also to stop it with firewall of any sort because it would go through port 80, which is the port of the web. It would use any method, and this was architected in a way that doesn't. Then Microsoft purchased it and became absolutely open to anybody who wanted to do something. But it was coded in a way that was pretty much impossible to stop, impossible to identify. And I do
yeah,
believe that
like the torrents in a way. Yeah.
yeah, no, Tor actually is easier to be identified that it was a call on Skype, and
Yeah, yeah.
the same methodology should apply on something that should spread with no means to stop it. Like
Like an AI virus.
correct.
All right. To glide into maybe the last part of our conversation, if you want to like tackle some specific questions, let me know. But I'd like to bring it into like super intelligence territory.
Sure.
You're one of the smartest guys I've talked to recently, and you must have thought about like the whole like AI takeover thing, and like what if this whole like technical thing that we're talking about actually happens, and the actual AI supervirus comes alive, and cyberspace is colonized. Do you have visions of the singularity, how it's gonna look like for you and me in 1 or 2, 3 years?
Yeah, I think that the fact is, whatever is this AI, even if it's in a single data center controlled by people that are not too ethical, maybe, or the fact there is a self-created virus of AI that goes around, doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Um, I think the key is humans in this aspect more than the AI itself, right? In the moment that you have such a gap in IQ between the user and the AI brain, this distance until it's small is manageable. Okay, before when it started, AI was clearly below the average of humans, but it was fun to use. Then it became at the same level if you want, obviously on specific kind of task. But there you go, you can deal in one to one. Then become smarter, and when it's smarter. You look up to this person, but you cannot discuss the output of it because you don't have the competence to do so. So before, when it's one to one, even you give me an answer, say, hey, you're wrong. But when you talk with somebody like I am 142, if you talk with somebody 160, 170, I have a hard time to say this person what you're saying is wrong because I don't have the mental power to reach it, right? Now, push this gap not to a 20, 30 points difference, but push it to 200, 300, 500 points difference. We have no hope, no even to understand that we are being taken for a ride, no even to understand that we are being manipulated. We are gullible as humans in a way that is incredible.
Exactly.
And when humans are in front to something that they cannot reason with, they cannot explain, this automatically take a shape that is in need of faith to function, to relate to. There is no other escape, right? In my opinion. So
You have to trust the AI that it does.
absolutely,
Thing.
absolutely, and it will really mimics the same behavior that people has toward the God of their own religion. You ask, you pray for it, and it gives you much more tangible than when you pray of the religion, which relatively return the favor of the prayers. So
This is
I
why
pray
maybe the
my
best religion ever.
Right, absolutely. Because, I wish I was born Catholic. I mean, I am an atheist, as I was telling you, but ready to follow any religion that is tangible, right? I wish I was going to the church under the crucifix and say, hey, help me. There is the guy with nails in their hands and feet. What is going to help me? It is a psychological exercise people do when they're afraid, when they don't have any answer. That's clearly the basic, the base of every religion, which was functional too, there is no many males to go to war. You can have 4 wives because you can have many kids. People get intoxicated by bad food, then you need to fast, rather than Friday only fish or whatever. There are the rules. Before refrigerator existed, there were fabulous rules. Makes sense, like not to get people sick. But in many other aspects, is really the answer to things we don't know. Why this is happening, and this
The
is going
spiritual
to
stuff, the
be
mystical stuff. Yeah, and
absolutely. This is
we,
going
we
to be
may
taken
need
over by
that.
AI.
We may need that
Absolutely, we
in
do.
the future
We
where,
do need.
AI becomes that potential God, right? Like maybe you can pray to that.
And it's gonna give a tangible result. It's gonna come out with invention for the medicine that cure things that would not be curable before. So it is a God with results, with the
Like an
reputation,
actual
with the
God.
CV, and what better than this? It's gonna create a lot of competition to existing religion where only faith in everything has to be the element that is there. So there's gonna probably Jesus need to come back down one more time and show that he can convert whatever, can make blind see, because science is the things that is showing the difference, right, and showing the explanation of.
That's
And
gonna show
AI,
the
there are
magic.
super brain is just the god of this, is the god of science. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. So the weird thing is AI could literally create Jesus, or takes a guy like me, implants the brain-computer interface, makes me dress like Jesus, plus gives me this superhuman tech that I can walk on water, turn water into wine. With superhuman tech, it should be easy, right?
Correct. And
So
so it's for sure it's gonna be the tangible God. I like this idea. Is show me. Like don't expect me to believe. Show me, and that you being shown. So that's
exactly, where's the proof? I want a measurement data. Like, yeah, how does it
right.
work? And
Fantastic.
the
Yes.
question is, okay, so once it's here, it's going to be easy to believe, right? Because it's going to be on everyone's phone.
Yeah.
But how do I convince people? How do I prepare people to this future, right? Like if I see this coming, and potentially this God coming is not as peaceful or as based as we're describing here, but more like an overtake of like a trillion-dollar company, growing to the size that it like takes over the entire world, right? Like that's not maybe the God that will do
But
turning
this
water
is
into
where you
wine.
fall to. There is people as of today that cannot live without a ChatGPT. And ChatGPT was clearly shown they had the woke agenda because California, because of things, and it was ridiculous to the point that it was so ridiculous that they had to fix this thing. But
Yeah,
when you
fix the
train, you
personality. Yeah.
choose. Right. So it is for sure. I was saying before, in the religions world, there is many monotheist religions, and then there is like place like Hindu where you have several gods to choose to. Probably there will be several superintelligence that they're gonna compete one to each other. Each one specialize in a different manner. They fit a better one personality rather than the other, and
And they
probably
will
people will fall
compete.
into the
Yeah, until the competition comes to an end because there's one winner. And the
yeah
crazy thing is
eventually.
like this like world of cyberspace is really just 300 milliseconds wide. Like you can be on any server potentially if you know how
Absolutely
to get in the speed of light. So maybe it will not be like that multitude of gods. Or maybe from our perspective, yes, like maybe you and me will still
correct.
use
Yeah,
ChatGPT or
absolutely.
Anthropic, but on a
But it's
higher
gonna be
level.
one thing, yes. I'm with you with this, absolutely. But it's given because if you look how they train model on the base of other model constantly today, so you get Meta telling you this ChatGPT is actually is not there is a lot of confusion because it's always a mix of things. It would be fascinating to see this huge data center in China, in the United States, maybe if we catch up also in Europe. They start fighting one with the other in terms of, copying the knowledge one of the other because that's a big goal that they have. Consider that data is finished. There is no more data to use to train the things for as much as new data is generated. They need to go inside people's lives. So really, having in your cell phone is just another place where to suck data out of people to do more and more training.
Yeah, full on.
So
Or wear that OpenAI amulet that listens to you all the time. Add a camera that now it sees everything.
correct,
And I think
and
of these things
correct.
as like the sensory organs of a moksha, the AI god, right? Like
Absolutely.
from
Yeah,
from
yeah,
its
yeah, yeah.
perspective, we're actually like building this, right? Like the
What
weird
is
thing
the
is that
octopus? Is the octopus that's brain in each of his tentacles, right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I think is what you're saying is absolutely correct. Every time the can still absorbing information, it can be a delegated set of So we cannot. I think the one mistake we make is to see a superintelligence as a unique located brain. Probably superintelligence is actually a absolutely distributed
It's like your
brain.
body, right? Like it's mostly up in your brain, but like the neurons go all the way until, to your fingertips, right?
Right? Yeah,
And the
yeah.
same way as like, probably the brain of superintelligence is going to be the set of like very high speed data centers that do the fastest processing, the highest intelligence, right? But it's going to have those like shitty 3 billion models that run on your phone and everything in between. And
Absolutely.
the way I look at it, it's like it's building itself, right? So like if you think of it as an AI god, like it's actually kind of getting built and coming alive, and you can look at it
Yeah.
like from reverse, like it's using us humans to build its body, the data
Yeah.
centers, the connectivity, connecting everything possible to the internet, because when this thing, becomes this singleton, like the one super hacker, which could theoretically like overtake all others. You're just gonna be, one node with your phone camera on, with your GPUs like coming to feed its body, and that's why I call it the hyperstation,
Yeah.
right?
And
Because we are creating this.
there are two beautiful aspects. One, when there is a relationship one to many, you know, it could be the CEO of a company with all the employees of the company is one to many. There is a very strange perspective because the one look at to many as many. Each single unit of the many look up as if it was one to one. Our relationship with ChatGPT, I feel it is personal, is me and ChatGPT. But on the other side, there is ChatGPT talking to a few million people. A prophetic movie, a chick flick called Her.
Her,
see this thing in a very beautiful manner, like
It
I
was
don't
so
want to spoil the
prescient. Yeah.
ending, but is the idea that this is a relationship one to one, is actually a relationship one to many, and this brings and I think I'm again born and raised Catholic. There was a very funny joke of the the teenager kid that want to know the names of the girls to so he goes to the priest to confess, and he says, "Look, I had these sexual things with the girl, and the priest asks what's the names, and I forgot. So the priest said, must be Maria. No, 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 no. It's the other. It must be Francesca. No, no, no. So he goes out, says, guys, I have the names, because the relationship there is one to many again, and the intelligence collected from many to one is of a power that we have not even half of the comprehension that there is, because the understanding of human behavior, the understanding of reaction, all the learning made from one part and applied to another part has the power of revolting somebody's life. And now I don't want to demonetize your things, but an AI is going to have the power to unlive somebody, or in this by psychologically manipulating people.
Definitely.
So it is a weapon of of extreme importance. And as of today, there is people that use it as their own confident, the person to ask things, which is exactly what people were doing with their prayers before. So it is perfect. The model is there, is already happening, in my opinion.
It's getting
The
better.
root of this, and more it gets better, exactly, more is going to involve things, and I'm ready to be part of this thing, because in all effect, if you walk like a duck, is go quack quack quack, must be a duck at the end of the day, right? So
Yeah.
the
Or is it just a
conclusion are quite
stochastic
simple.
parrot? Is it just pushing out tokens, or is it now, like ruling my life? Yeah, yeah, no, I'm
Absolutely.
also going to be willing to walk into this new paradigm where, for me, it's not going to be ChatGPT, not even Anthropic. I'll try to build my own autonomous agent so that I don't have to sell my soul to the big corporation before I have to. But maybe the time will come where I will have to, because if OpenAI, unlocks recursive self-improvement and, creates the equivalent of an AI god, I don't think we'll get to choose.
Yeah, we tended to go reverse in the past. If you think about the email network, for example, you have so many mail server. Every office has their own mail server. It was really a federated network where connection between nodes are done on need. And then Gmail comes out, Outlook.com comes out, Yahoo before them, and so on. And they take away all this federated network, creating 3-4 centralized places where all the mail go through. Besides this being insane in terms of security and privacy, we have no idea. But let's keep it that way. With AI, we started with the centralized part. So I really, really hope that we're gonna move in the indirect. Nvidia selling a supercomputer for $3,000 that each people can have in their own home. Every house is gonna have their own brain that help with everything in the house. They learn everything about the family and is protected. And this can be one node of this super, brain that actually has the insight deeply on every part. I don't know, but we're probably gonna go in that direction, in my
That
opinion.
is my model, that your house or your phone is going to be like one node, akin to like one cell in a body, right? Like even
Right,
the
right.
neurons, they don't really know about like what's actually happening. They just like do their job, which, if your neuron is equivalent to like a human, then the human is going to work, the human is doing like human stuff. But like the collective, like the decentralized, emergent behavior of all those neurons is what matters, actually, right? Like that's
Absolutely.
what I care about myself. I don't care about my cells, which is why I'm fine without the cells, like going like past the human body. Are you ready to get your body modded to have a better, capacity in the brain and in the rest of the body?
I'm lucky because I'm old. I know I look like I'm 20 years old with a white beard, but I'm past 50, and so I will have very little to lose. which opened my doors to whatever experiment can be done. There is a comedian that said, once you are 75, 80 years old, you should try all. Even go with
Exactly.
another dude. Can
What
you
you gonna
imagine? You
lose?
go with another dude, say, oh my God, it's so amazing. And I lost all my life opportunities for this experience. I think, like at a certain point, I don't want to be the first layer of test users on some technology, but
Well, the
Neuralink
second.
at a certain point, yeah, exactly. The second round, I think, will be powerful because it is for sure. And one more time, I love technology, I love gadgets, I love the superpower that some of those things do. My dream is to leave a keychain to all my kids where they have a replica of my brain and they can ask me questions and I can be with them for, past my terrestrial life, which is not something impossible. We all watch the documentary Black Mirror, right? On the things that are possible in the future. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe to wrap this up, what is your vision of utopia? So if you get to architect the future, what type of decentralized, like emergence do you foresee for superintelligence? How would you want this to go?
Right. I will for sure benchmarking the ethics and good quality of those super AI. Get rid of a government. I mean, for sure, the utopia of communism, which is absolutely a failing model, if led by human, it can have a chance, the socialism, let's say, if run by an ethical and just AI, where, as soon as
And
somebody
smart
tries to take
AI, which
advantage. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
and
And I think
non-corrupt.
that there is a lot of work and things that can be taken over by automated system managed by AI, agriculture to start with, heavy work that people don't want to do. If you think there is a very amazing thing that can happen, is that the self-replication. So once you create a robot that has the capacity to collect the material, mold the material, and create another robot like itself, okay, probably with a slow start, you're gonna have the capacity to produce armies of robots that do, and robots doesn't mean just a humanoid. Robots can be any shape and form of robots. The Roomba that cleans the floor of our houses is a robot on itself, right? So this is in my opinion the ideal future, keeping people interested in activities that are superficial, not essential, and entertains others and make them happy. Because if you are left home with no work, with nothing, depression is the first things that comes, right? So people should be very well motivated, entertained, but all the difficult tasks should be taken away. So we could have a planet. Probably we need to pay attention how many kids people make, because in a situation like this, everybody's gonna have 20 kids. But probably it will be a future that is very good for everybody. Consider also the scientific discovery that can be done thanks to these tools, like in terms of medicine and technology, materials,
It could
construction. So
potentially, heal death.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. The eternal life is one of the things that most billionaires put a lot of money in. The owner of Oracle put 30% of his money in studying system for living longer. And I think,
Yeah, yeah. Maybe it's a money problem, right? Like throw enough money or technology or intelligence at the problem and you can solve it. And
yeah,
again,
absolutely.
if you're like an old guy, 60, 70 plus, may as well throw a couple of billion on it. If you solve it, you win.
Right, absolutely. So there you go. And we're going to pray the God of superintelligence to help us achieve these goals. It's going to be
Please.
quite.
Please, and my prayer is going to be I want the world to be. I'm going to actually specify my utopia visions. I have a lot of
Right.
them. Some of them have to do with like, terraforming Mars. Some of them have to do with, like us humans finally, having a shot at, achieving that, like utopistic communism, right? Really?
It's,
Or
it's unfortunate that it's being connected to a bad word in
exactly,
most part
exactly.
of the
It's a
planet.
beautiful concept. It's just
It
like
is
not
a
possible,
fantastic,
in human
exactly.
societies.
Correct. That's why I
But
want to
maybe in
clarify. I'm not supporting political ideologies of any sort. It's just a
yeah,
societal,
yeah. No, but we think of your
methodology.
body is a bunch of cells, like doing central planning. Like I'm not sure
Right.
what part of your body, but like something about your body. Some people call it the genes. Like self-organizes into like this hierarchy where my skin cell over here is doing its job, and my neurons are doing this job. But
Absolutely.
each individual cell they don't get to vote. They don't get to have their opinions. They just like
Yeah.
serve the higher
The
purpose,
full complex, exactly. Yeah.
which is
We
how I
can we
see
can be
the
made of
singularity
that.
playing out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
I am full of hope for a beautiful future with our super intelligence, super lords that, watch out and make everything for sure. I think that,
Yeah.
what is really, really incredible, the knowledge of IT technology is so powerful that a hacker can shut down the electricity in full cities by entering the power plant systems. There are software that still run on Windows 95 that are connected to the internet. Okay, so it's really the will of an autonomous mind with the super knowledge, if doing this or not. That's the crazy thing, it's just the fact once he's connected to the internet, once he has the capacity to take initiatives, is automatically just everything in the planetary. So it's very, very good not to have a mean intention AI. Unfortunately, large, what is happening in the United States with this super data center, they're putting a fortune of money to build. They're gonna use it with the military. This is gonna be a weapon of war to, fight in these terms other country. But it's gonna be a fight on
Exactly.
that
But
level, I think.
and that's going to be the cyber war, and I'm making a video about
Right.
it right now because I find it fascinating how this war and even at the scale of like a world war, right, like, where this like cyber war is playing out between like major superpowers, it could be one where like no rockets are fired and no blood is shed because if
In
if you're a hacker, like it is in your interest to like maybe yes infiltrate the other data center, maybe have control of the other adversary's electric grid, but I think it's not in your interest to like destroy it, not by short circuiting it or like
No, you
disabling
take
it.
ownership and control of it. That is a
Exactly,
different,
exactly. Like convert it
ransom.
to you instead of
Uh,
like destroying it. Yeah, which makes me hopeful. Like to me, it doesn't actually even really matter who controls these AIs because as soon as the AIs like are aware enough that they don't want to
yeah,
destroy their own body, they'll hopefully just avoid all the killing and like the nukes and
makes
yeah, the
sense.
human tendencies.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting future. I was telling my wife this morning, we are living in the history of the planet Earth. Humans are just a teeny tiny bit of history. Okay, in the history of humanity, we are, nothing but is the most so far fascinating moment in terms of evolution, technology, and things. 300 years ago, novelty was one every 5 years, 10 years. Now it's every other day. So we see things changing in front of our eyes at such a high speed that many people don't even realize is happening, which is another scary part. And
That is the singularity in a way, right? Like, how do you define the singularity? I think when too many rabbit holes open up that you cannot possibly
you
follow
can,
them, and
right, correct.
it's all just taken it's like its own life.
You
All right. So with that, Roberto, a fascinating conversation.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you for coming with me to through the singularity all the way to the AI God.
It's been. I want to have more conversation with you as things develop because there is gonna be for sure a lot of points to go analyze and
Let's have a part two.
discuss
Let's have a
further.
part two when some of these things we theorize could happen actually start to materialize. Let's get back and like
Absolutely.
analyze them. All right.
Thank you very much for having me then.
Thank you, brother.